Hey, it's time for Streaming Idiots with your chief idiot, Tom Sinclair. Oh my goodness. What are we up to today? It's going to be an awful broadcast. I can tell you that right now. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this. Oh my, oh my, oh my. If you could be just a little bird perched on my shoulder, you would laugh and laugh and laugh and say, this guy, he says he's an idiot, and everybody says, yeah, he's an idiot. But he really is an idiot. Oh my goodness. Tom Sinclair here, Streaming Idiots. You found it. Glad to have you here. Thanks for all the guys that have shown up here in chat today. It looks like a good group, and they seem to be behaving for the most part. If you'd like to join us live, we're live every Wednesday afternoon, Eastern Time, U.S. It's about 3:30-ish. You know, sometimes it's 3:45. It just sort of depends. We do that VidBlaster Guy at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, and then we do Streaming Idiots thereafter. Both of them are broadcast live. That VidBlaster Guy is live. And both of them are recorded. That VidBlaster Guy gets published on YouTube Wednesday night, and then Streaming Idiots published on Friday night, unless you are a subscriber to our website. So go to easternshorebroadcasting.com, look for the little tag that says exclusive video in the right-hand column, and sign up, and we'll send you a notice, and we'll post the Wednesday broadcasts. But we just don't release Streaming Idiots until Friday, so you can watch it early. You can watch it early, exclusively for you. Anyway, let's see. Okay, except Andrew says that it's 8 o'clock there Thursday morning in Australia. So, what can I say? What can I say? It's 7 till here, so you guys are ahead of the game. Today's show. Enough of this idle chit-chat. Today's show is about how to do an awful broadcast. And I'm an expert on doing an awful broadcast. And I'm going to give you my top 5 tips with a bonus of 5 more top tips for a total of 10 top tips on how to do an awful broadcast. And these are guaranteed to work. In fact, if you do any 2 or 3 of them, you will have an awful broadcast. In fact, you might even have an awful broadcast with one of them. It just depends on which one it is. You say, Tom, what could it be? Well, funny that you should ask that question. Oh, by the way, before we start, full disclosure, I am an authorized reseller for VidBlaster and vMix, and I'm also a custom PC builder for streaming PCs. So if you're interested in any of those goods or services or products, holler and let me know. I do all my own tech support. So if you've got a PC or VidBlaster or vMix that you've purchased somewhere else and you want to buy a support package, we're happy to help with that too. Go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and you can get all the details there. And if there's no details there because I forgot to post them, just shoot me a note or a text, Tom at easternshorebroadcasting.com. Let's see, the top five of things to guarantee an awful broadcast. Number 1, have problems with your audio. No, I'm just teasing. Actually, we are suffering from some minor audio glitches today. I'm not sure exactly where they're coming from. They just popped up right before the first show. So there maybe was an update, something updated itself. I did run a couple extra new cables, so maybe a cable is too close to a power wire, that kind of thing. We'll try to get it figured out. But you always see people talk about, how to ensure you're having a good stream. How do you have a good broadcast? Well, I'm going to tell you how you can guarantee a bad broadcast. And guarantee number 1, and I do this all the time, do something in your broadcast that you've never done before. Try something new that you've not tested. Do something differently in a way that You've never, ever gone down that path before. Install some new hardware or some new software in your PC before the broadcast, but don't test it. Make sure that whatever it is, you have no clue how it's going to work. And it may work and it may not work. We on that VidBlaster Guy show earlier today, I knew in theory something should work the way it was supposed to. I'd never tried it, but it should work, no problem. I'm Tom Sinclair. No, it didn't work. So I had to be embarrassed and fix it and let everybody know I was fixing it. If you want to watch that show, it's that VidBlaster Guy show from January 21st, 2015 on audio. And wouldn't you know it, today would be the day that we have some sort of audio glitches too. The real message is, of course, test everything you're going to do. If you're going to a remote venue, test at that remote venue. Test your internet connection. Test your PC setup. Test your camera connections. Test everything. Don't assume that anything is going to be the way it was the last time you left it. I had a tech support call today from somebody that said, "Hey, look, VidBlaster was streaming just great the other day, and now it streams for 26 seconds and then hangs up. What's going on?" Well, I don't know. But we talked about it, and process of elimination, found out, well, it wasn't really VidBlaster. It was probably his hosting company. His CDN was having some issues. But that's why you want to test. And don't wait till the last second to test, because then you don't have time to troubleshoot and fix it. So test early and often. In fact, test when you don't even have a show. If you want to try something new, put something new together, test it. If you put something new together and test it, make sure you put it back the way it was before you tested it, and then test it again and make sure the next time you need it, it's going to work right. So, number one, don't ever test anything before the show. Do new things without testing them. That's number one. Number two, and this one can capture you without knowing it. Make sure you have no clue what your upload bandwidth is. That's right. Don't test your bandwidth. Don't want to know. Just assume that you can send high definition video, 2 or 3 streams of it, because you're going to send to different CDNs. Just assume that you got plenty of bandwidth, and don't check it. Don't check it. I check mine every day. That is something I do religiously. I'll sit down here first thing. I want to make sure I got good bandwidth. I'm on cable from Mediacom, and generally it's pretty good. But there's certain times of day that it seems to lag. Today when I tested it before showtime, I was getting 85 megs down and 28 megs up. That's pretty decent. That gives me a lot of headroom. But there's some days I've tested it where it's been 4 megs up. That's a big difference. Suddenly, I can't send as many different streams up as I want to, the way I want to, if I've got bandwidth issues. Now, the issues may be temporary. And in fact, bandwidth issues come and go, and they can come and go during the course of a show. We had a show, I think it was last week, maybe it had been 2 weeks ago, where there must have been bandwidth issues somewhere because some of the folks watching the show were getting buffering and other people weren't. And once it kind of leaves your PC and goes to your internet service provider and then goes out from there, you've lost control over it. But it never hurts to check it, and especially if you're going to a remote location and you're either using their bandwidth that they're providing for you, or you're using your telephone or like the Verizon MiFi card, that little pack of cigarette device. We got pretty good uplinks on that one most of the time, but we didn't always. The other thing, if the venue is going to be providing the uplink for you, and you test it at 2 o'clock, but the show is at 7 o'clock, are they carving into that bandwidth for other things during the time? Check as much of that in advance as you can, so that you can guarantee that you've got the internet connection that you want. Number 3, Oops, sorry. Number 3. Can't even do that right. Number 3, make sure that you use equipment that's new. That is, let's say we're going to use a new camera, and the camera came this afternoon. Can't wait to try it. Set it up, put it on the tripod, plug it in, turn it on. It's showtime. And suddenly you're green, or you're out of focus, or it's on auto zoom or autofocus and you want it on fixed focus, or the white balance is bad, or fill in the blank. The same thing applies for software. How many times have I done the VidBlaster Guy show and updated to a new beta and had a surprise because something didn't work the way I thought? Maybe it's not a bug. It just didn't work the way I thought it was going to work. So, by all means, use new equipment that you've never tried before and use new software that you've never tried before. By all means, do that. And that kind of goes back to testing. Don't test, and always use new equipment. That's number 1 and number 3. This is one of my favorites, and this took me forever to get right, or wrong, as the case may be. I'm doing this negative show, and it confuses me to go negative. Number 4, I got that much right. Make sure you use bad lighting. Don't use good lighting. Make sure you have lots of shadows and that or you've got too much light and everything blows out, or that you tested your light at nighttime, but now it's daytime and there's a big window right behind you, so you're going to get this backlight. Make sure you don't check any of that in advance. Don't spend any time worrying about lighting. Lighting is critical. Lighting is really critical. I mean, it's not above audio, but it's pretty darn important, because lighting affects how your camera works. It affects how it affects facial expressions. If you've got shadows, they can give you a sinister look when really you're trying to be an idiot. So take some time with your lighting, get it set. Here in my studio, let's see if I can give you just a little quick studio shot. This is quick and dirty, so please forgive me. This is a little webcam I keep on my desk. I've got just the regular clamp lights that you can get at the hardware store, and they've got with the CFLs, compact fluorescent bulbs in them. I've got 3 of them on my left. One of them, the one in the middle, pointed at me. The other 2 are pointed at the green screen behind me. And then I've got one above the green screen. That's the one that gives me that nice kind of halo effect. You see the halo effect right there? And then I've got 3 more lights on my right. 2 of them at the green screen, 1 of them at me. Hey, one of them's burned out. I didn't even notice it. That's why I'm getting so many shadows today. Don't check your lighting before the show. And then I've got another light that's kind of coming on from the front. So don't check your lighting. Boy, I didn't even know that thing was burned out. What a great example of how to be an idiot. He's got burned out lights on his bulb. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Number 5, and this probably should be number 1. Make sure you don't check your audio, and it's okay to have pops and clicks and buzzes and whirs and distorted audio, because people love that. That's a great way to have your broadcast just turned off. It is not a good idea to not test your audio. Today, as I said, we're picking up some audio anomalies, and should have been in here testing this morning, definitely, since I was doing this show. And Dr. Campbell's telling me in the chat room that light was out last week. The lights that you see right here are just part of the video that's my backdrop. They aren't really the lights that we're using here in the studio. It's just the illusion, as it were. So good audio is critical. If people can't hear you and understand you, they'll turn you off. If you've got anomalies in your audio, clicks, buzzes, whirs, pops, distortions, whatever, people will turn it off. They won't listen. It's a guaranteed hang up. Those are my top 5, but we've got 5 bonus ones, so don't go away. Make sure that you never back up anything. Don't ever back up your software. If you make a recording of a show, don't make a backup copy of it. Just assume that it will be safe on your hard drive forever. Don't subscribe to a service like Carbonite. Don't put it in a Dropbox. Don't make a second copy of anything. I think my lights are fading and I'm getting darker and darker in here. Number 2 of the bonus ones. If you want to have a great broadcast sorry, I forgot my negative. If you want to have an awful broadcast, one that nobody watches, remember not to promote your event. Don't get on Twitter and talk about it. Don't post it on your Facebook page. Don't send out emails. Don't call folks. Don't do anything to let people know you're having a broadcast. Keep it under wraps. And that way, when you have an awful broadcast, nobody notices. Oh, I think that's going to be my favorite one. Bonus number 3. Make sure, if you're doing a broadcast, especially in a talk show like this, if you want to have an awful talk show, make sure that you don't have any kind of interactivity with your audience. So don't look at Twitter, don't have a chat room, don't do any of that, because you really don't care what they say. Now, obviously, I'm saying that with a grain of salt. Come on, I mean, with sarcasm. I care deeply. Anybody that's doing a show, doing any kind of broadcast, definitely cares about what their audience thinks and wants to know. You know, guys, number one, are we getting good audio? Are you getting good video? Are we getting good camera shots? Are you getting the information that you need? The only way to do that sometimes is to ask the question. Looks like we're having some problems with our CDN today, popping up some ads. Ooh, that's no good. Sorry about that, guys, for those of you watching live. Not sure why that is. We'll have to find out. That's a no-no because we're paying for this service. Number 4 in the bonus. Make sure that you wait to the last minute to go live. Don't go live early. If you go live early, well, just don't go live early. You want to conserve bandwidth, I guess. Or you want to wait till the last minute to turn on the show. Obviously, you want to do the exact opposite of that. If you want to have a good broadcast, you want to go ahead and start the stream early. Sometimes it takes a stream a little while to sort of get steady. I've noticed sometimes it'll take 3 or 4 minutes for my stream to sort of even out with Dacast. I use Dacast.com, D-A-C-A-S-T. It costs me about $25 a month, and I get 100 gigs of transport of video. And I like their service. And I pay for it. They're not a sponsor, so you're getting a bona fide recommendation. Although this ad thing, I got to go find out about. The idea with starting early is it gives your stream a chance to sort of even up. It gives you a chance to check your stream. If you don't have a PC available and you can't check it right there, you can call a friend and get them to pop in on it. How's the audio? How's the video? If you need to test it yourself, throw a video on there that's got some audio and some motion in it and go to another PC and take a look and see. You certainly don't want to, and this is kind of a corollary to that, you don't want to keep that second stream going during your broadcast. You don't want to eat up your bandwidth. Even if it just takes a little bit of bandwidth, you don't want to eat up any bandwidth, I don't think. I think you want whatever you're doing, that's all you're doing on the PC so far as internet connection is concerned. Oh, there's one I hadn't thought of. Make sure, and this is a bonus to the bonuses because I've got one more regular bonus coming up. Make sure that you have somebody in the house that's uploading something. If you've got a home studio, or watching Netflix or something like that that's eating up your bandwidth. That ought to be part of the bandwidth one. Make sure there's somebody else in the house that's a heavy internet user and is using the internet heavily. And that will help guarantee an awful broadcast. And the other way to do it is to once your show is over, whether it's a talk show or a church broadcast or sporting or whatever, as soon as it's over, turn it off, and don't show it again. Don't give folks an opportunity to come back later and see what they might have missed if they had to leave for a minute, or if they didn't really understand your concept and they wanted to watch it again, or if it was a great ball game and they wanted to see that home run in the bottom of the ninth. Don't make that available to them, and that will ensure that you have an awful broadcast and that you're never ever watched again. All right, so we got five main ones and 5 bonuses. Our 5 main ones are: never ever test prior to a broadcast. Don't check your bandwidth. Always use new equipment that you're unfamiliar with. Don't check lighting. Have bad lighting, and by all means, don't check your audio. It's okay not to have bad audio. Glitches, buzzwords, bonuses. Never back up anything. The one copy you have is plenty. Don't ever promote your event. Nobody needs to know about it. Don't make it interactive. By the way, I stole all these from somebody else. You can probably tell this. Don't make it interactive. You don't care. You don't care what your audience thinks. Go live at the last minute. Don't go early. Don't burn up that bandwidth. Go live at the last minute. Nothing can go wrong. And as soon as your show is over, turn it off. Don't keep on streaming because nobody wants to see an after show. And by all means, don't repeat the show later because certainly nobody cares about it then. Now, if you're just joining us in the middle of this show and you're hearing this part, this is all satire. I promise you, it's just the opposite of that. You do want to test. You do want to check your bandwidth. You do want to check your lighting. You do want to check your audio. You do want to know your equipment. By gosh, you want to know your equipment. How many times have I had a tech support call where somebody calls and they have a new piece of equipment? They've got a new camera, and the video is showing bars in it, i.e. the camera is set for interlaced, but the software is not de-interlacing. And they don't know how to turn off the interlacing. They don't know what the problem is, and they certainly don't know how to solve it because they don't know the equipment. They haven't taken time for it. And I think some manufacturers and marketers of equipment and software and devices do us, the users of this stuff, a disservice in making us think it's all so easy to use. It's so easy to use. Well, occasionally things are easy to use. I think, for example, VidBlaster is pretty easy to use until you get into it. A novice can sit down with VidBlaster and do a pretty decent show with a 10-minute tutorial. I see it all the time. But for the most part, this stuff is not easy to use. It's not always intuitive. It takes digging into it and understanding. And, how many people have I talked to that have called me with a tech support call? They've never read the manual. They don't even know where the manual is. I'd say, okay, give me the model number and brand. And I'd Google the manual and pull it up on the screen. I said, okay, on page 47 of your manual, it says this. Oh, well, I didn't know that. Well, read the doggone manual. Gee whiz. Sorry about that. Got on my high horse there. Always back stuff up. This show, I'll have a hard copy on 2 different hard drives in the same PC. I know that's not as good as separate. And then I'll upload one to YouTube. So there are 3 copies that exist of this show. I love to promote my events. Promoting events is one of the most fun parts of it for me. I like to send out emails. I like to do tweets. I've got 3 different Twitter accounts. I've got 2. Is it 2 or 3? Probably just 2 Facebook pages, as well as a great email list. If you want to be on my email list, go to easternshorebroadcasting.com. It's on the front page on the bottom right where you can sign up, and we'll send you advance notice of things that people don't know about until later, and all sorts of tips and tricks that folks get eventually, but you'll get first. Let's see. I love having chat rooms. So far as having it interactive, I use chatwing.com, and let me show you the chat right here. There's chat right there, and so you can see all the folks that are in there chatting right now, and it's a great way for them to alert me. Hey, Tom, your fly's down. Somebody did say that to me one time, and they got me, even though I knew there wasn't a camera looking in that place. I love to go live early. I do a pre-show. The pre-show starts about half an hour before the show, but a lot of the times I'll start the broadcast an hour before the show and just do some random testing. I want to make sure everything's working right. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And then so far as after the show is over, I keep streaming for a while. I mean, we'll sit in the chat room and chat back and forth and talk about what went on in the show and other things. And frequently it gives me ideas for future shows. So, and I think today, if I can make it work right, I'm going to rebroadcast the VidBlaster Guy show right after the show. So if you're watching live and you missed that show and you want to watch it, stay tuned. We'll have it on. Let's see. What do we want to do now? I'm thinking, and that's always dangerous, I know. We've got a few minutes left in this show. The 10 tips that I got, I stole from Ustream. Ustream.tv is the great granddaddy of all free streaming, and they're worth a look if you're just getting into it. They stream for free. We used DACAST.com, and that's our streaming provider. It's sort of the royal we. It's just me. I have had an opportunity unfold in front of me that you might be interested in. If not, you can just fast forward to the end of this segment, where you can monetize your video by having ads inserted into the stream at your command. Not ads that just arbitrarily take over your stream, but ones where you're hitting a button and telling them to come in. And so I'm working with a developer on that now. I mean, that's been available for all the big folks, for TV and for cable TV and for lots of folks like that for years. But it's finally filtering down to the point where the common guy, the guy that's going to go out and do a broadcast and have a couple hundred or a couple thousand viewers, can actually make use of this. And, if you're doing sports broadcasts are perfect for this. If you're doing a sports broadcast and you're trying to figure out, an additional way to monetize it, a lot of folks go out and try to get sponsors and they try to get ads. And that's obviously the most cost-effective way of doing it. I mean, you can go out and you can get somebody to give you an ad. I had a sponsor my soccer a whole season. He bought $1,000 worth of sponsorships. And we dedicated a camera to his product. So whenever we used that particular camera, we were doing soccer and we had the camera behind the goal. That was the blah, blah goal cam. And so there are ways to do that, but that took a lot of work. I had to go out and meet with people. I had to track them down. If you don't enjoy that and you'd like to put, a few pennies into your pocket over the course of the year, it could be hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. I don't know which. It depends on how many eyeballs you have. But this process, I think, will be able to do that. And it will be kind of inobtrusive I mean, it'll be in the sense where people that watch television expect, at some points during the show, there's going to be a break and you're going to have an ad. If you're watching a baseball game, there are ads between innings. If you're watching basketball or football, there are ads in the timeouts. Soccer's a little tougher because they don't have timeouts, but, they have pregame and halftime and postgame where there'll be a lot of ads. So you can incorporate this into your streams, and I think it's going to be interesting. I'll have more details. I didn't mean to take so much time with it. Sorry about that. But I'll have more details here in the next couple of weeks, and we might be able to roll that out and make it available to everybody. And hopefully it'll be as easy as it sounds. Let's see. What else? I think that's about it. I think we've covered all our bases for today. How to do an awful broadcast by the chief awful broadcaster, Tom Sinclair himself. It really has been a treat to have you with me today. If you're watching us on YouTube, we hope you'll subscribe. If you're watching us live, then we don't care. Just go away. No, I'm teasing. Hang out. We'll be hanging out in the what do you call it? Oh, the chat room. Yeah, the chat room. We'll be hanging out in the chat room after the show. So take care. We'll see you again next time. Streaming Idiots is brought to you live on Wednesdays about 3:30 in the afternoon Eastern Time. Get more information at easternshorebroadcasting.com. That's easternshorebroadcasting.com.